Welcome back to the channel. This is the action figure grader, and Hakes Auctions is not giving collectors' wallets a break at all. They've already got their next auction underway. All of these items I'm going to cover end on February 12th, which is a Wednesday. And you guys know the drill for Hakes, that they have an 18% buyer's premium for whatever the final winning bid is, or you can pay by bank wire and cut that down to 15% for the buyer's premium. This is a collector-friendly auction. So we're fresh off of the Jeff Jacob Part 1 collection in January. This is their collector-friendly auction that has a ton of stuff, by the way. There is a lot in here, both graded and ungraded, CAS, UKG, AFA, and you know, you guys can take a closer look at the inventory, but there is a ton, and we'll kind of go through a quick scroll of everything in this auction, but there is a lot. And then apparently in March, there is going to be another featured auction that's not Jeff Jacobs related items. Okay. So January, February, then March is another featured auction with kind of higher priced items. And then the next Jeff Jacob section of Hakes will be in May, apparently. It's kind of still iffy right now, but the last I heard is going to be May for part 2 of Jeff Jacobs' collection. All right, so let's take a look. I just pulled a few items that I thought were worth showing and talking about. There's obviously a lot going on, and bidding is underway already, but I wanted to put this preview video out. If you're a Darth Vader fan, you might want to get in on this auction, because there are a ton of Darth Vader mint on cards. I mean, there's like 417,000. There's a lot. This is a 12A Darth Vader AFA 70, probably about as affordable as it's going to get given the 70 grade. So for those of you that don't want to pay up the huge multiples for 85s and 85 pluses and 90s, take a closer look at this auction, because there probably are going to be some pretty fair deals, given people have spent about $1.45 million in the January auction. So maybe you can find some good deals in here. These auctions are a little tricky. Okay. I'm not talking about for the graded items already. I'm talking about for the ungraded, because you can find some really good deals. Okay. You got to really zoom in on the photos. Some of my best buys over at Hakes are the ungraded items. I've bought many ungraded mocks and sent them in to be graded with either Collector Archive or AFA over the years. And some of them get good grades. Some of them get maybe not so good grades. But, you know, I've gotten like the last ungraded item I got from Hakes was a 48 back C Revenge of the Jedi ESB for the 21B medical droid. It came back with a AFA 80 plus. It's the only AFA 80 plus on the census. And there's maybe, I think, 7 graded higher. But that's a pretty good get, you know, for the price I paid for it. I mean, that's a really good get. So if you really zoom in on these photos for the ungraded items, I bet you can identify some pretty good deals. And, you know, I just feel like some of the ungraded items obviously you're taking the grading risk, but if you really are careful about it, and, you know, you can probably find some grade-worthy type items. So this was a cool one. This one is the Takara 12-back A Darth Vader. And this one is graded 70 plus from the Tad Moore collection. And, you know, again, this is kind of what we were talking about with the distribution sticker on some of those Takara 12-back A's. This is probably just the standard sculpt from what I can tell there. It doesn't look like it's the Takara sculpt, which has maybe a little bit longer face if memory serves. So this is just a standard 12-back A that was produced in the U.S. Kenner factories and then shipped for distribution in Japan. So that's why it's got that sticker. There are some Takara-specific 12-backs, like in the last auction, with the white background behind the figure, things like that. But this one, you know, they've got value codes for all of these, and hopefully, you know, you can find some pretty decent deals. We've got some ungraded examples. This is a 12-back C card with the 32-back sticker. So there was a lot of inventory left over of 12-backs, and so they slapped these 32-back stickers on the back. They're very coveted among collectors. And again, they're in varying degrees of condition for the ungraded stuff. You can see lots of creases on this one, but they do a pretty good job of showing, you know, what the issues are for handling wear, if there's any minor denting, if it's yellowed, if there's any ink touch up. Hakes does disclose all that in the item description. So you'll have to read through the ungraded items very carefully. There are a lot of cut cards in this auction. If you're into those, I'm not really into those, but CAS does preserved grading with cut cards. And so this is a Leia Organa CAS 85 preserved grade. And so that just encase the cut card and then grade the figure based on what they can see. But there's a bunch of those at auction if you're into those kind of things. There are some other loose graded figures throughout this auction. I'll show a few Lily Lettys a little bit later on. There's ungraded baggies. Here is the wind-up Takara R2-D2 from 1978 or 79, 78, CAS 80 plus, and it's displayed with the original baggie. So those originally came in like some baggies. So, just very cool items that maybe you don't see everywhere. There's a AFA 80 plus collector series patrol dewback. So this is not the first issue, obviously. This is the collector series from 83. And it's graded AFA 80 plus, red label, so factory sealed. So, nothing too crazy in this auction, but there are some very nice items. Here's the debut card for the Hoth Imperial Stormtrooper, the 31 back A, and it's graded CAS 80. And they've got the value code at $400 to $700. If it stays anywhere around there, that's a good deal. I've seen ungraded examples go for more than that. So we'll see where some of these end up, but hopefully you can get some pretty decent deals. This is a good one. This is probably my favorite in this entire auction. This is a 41 back D, unpunched, no price sticker, Darth Vader, graded AFA 80 plus. That's a beauty. That's, really worthy of, any collection, in my opinion. That's an absolutely beautiful item. And that one, again, is graded 80 plus. It is yellowed. I'm sorry, it's not a clear blister. It is yellowed. But still, that's any ESB Darth Vader in high grade, even if it's very slightly yellowed like that, count me in. I mean, that's a really nice looking item there. Next up is a very slightly yellowed blister 47 back Cloud Car Pilot, another unpunched AFA 80 plus. So, if you can live with some of these defects that are on there, there's very, very good deals to be had. There are color touch items like this. It does say in the title for those items, color touch. So just be aware of that. But for those of you on a budget, you get something like this Princess Leia and you put it in a sliding acrylic case, and that is a great item to have for your collection. It doesn't all have to be investment grade type stuff. So very, very nice. Here is a 41 back A, IG88, clear blister, ungraded, obviously. So take a closer look at that. This was an ungraded, but this is it's labeled, they need to fix this, but it says mail away Admiral Akbar. This is the mail away Bosk. So there's an error there, Alex, if you're watching. This is the mail away Bosk. Very tough item to find. And, even in this condition, which is probably about 75 grade condition, mainly because of the figure, those early Bosks did get a lot of discoloration. The plastic degrades, and you can see the color difference between the torso and the limbs on this one. So this would at best probably get a 75. But if you look at the AFA pop report for the Boss mail away, there's not a ton of them in any grade. So these are the types of great items that you can pick up. And again, that one's mislabeled Admiral Akbar, but it is the Bosk mail away. Here's the Admiral Akbar. This one is an uncirculated 80 grade for the Admiral Akbar mail away. And that one is available. There's a lot of ungraded baggies as well. For those that are interested in baggies. Here's a Palatoy 65 back D Darth Vader. I told you there's a lot of Vaders in this auction. I didn't show all of them either, but that's a beauty. It's a pretty common item, but AFA 80 with a very slightly yellowed blister. Yeah, you can see the very slight yellowing to that one. And that might be a Spanish PBP inside there. I'm not sure. I know a lot of those 65 back Palatoys did have Spanish PBP Darth Vaders inside there. I can't tell just looking at it, but that is a possibility there. Here's a Made in Mexico Biker Scout. So this is the Lily Letty Biker Scout made for the U.S. market. Pretty clean condition. It's got some light crunching down there in the lower left-hand corner on the front, but very light crease down there. Probably about a 75 grade. But, for those of you that are into the Made in Mexico Lily Lettys, that's a pretty nice looking example there. Speaking of which, I did buy in a Hakes auction a couple of years ago a Made in Mexico Lily Letty Biker Scout, and it ended up getting an 80 grade overall. So, you know, you can really find some pretty good deals on these ungraded items at Hakes. And I don't remember what I paid for it, but it was significantly below market. I mean, it was not market price. Here is a very slightly yellowed blister 77 back A Snaggletooth. It's not the made in Spain, unfortunately. This is just the Hong Kong version, but it's got the coin offer, unpunched, very light yellowing to it. It's got that SKU running change sticker in the upper left-hand corner. A lot of cool stuff going on with that one. Very nice condition for that one. And here's an AFA 80 factory sealed C-3PO action figure carrying case. We all remember that, for those of us that were playing. I got one of those for Christmas one year. That was pretty awesome. I got a photo of me actually as a kid opening that for Christmas. So I kept all my figures from Return of the Jedi in that box. So very cool item there. And there are lots of Lily Lettys loose graded in this auction. Here is an AFA 80 Lily Letty Han Bespin, a CAS 80 Han Trenchcoat Lily Letty. That one comes with the wide-handled black Bespin blaster, and kind of a well-known variant for the Lily Letty collectors out there. Very tough variant to track down, too. Usually the coat is in pretty rough shape, so that's a pretty nice one. But as you can see, I just wanted to show you very quickly. You can see all these cut cards that are graded by CAS, preserved grade. Lots of items, lots of loose graded figures. And there are some cut card die cast, as you can see there. There's a bot bag graded UKG 50, the movie viewer AFA 60, but tons of ungraded mint on cards for those of us on a budget and maybe don't need to have everything super high grade. There is a UKG 75 hand puppet, Yoda hand puppet, and you can see all of these mint on cards. I mean, there's an absolute ton. There are some poppies where the figure's loose with the, just loose or with the baggie next to the actual box for the poppy, so that'll keep the price down on some of those if you're into that. Some micro collection. There's some Return of the Jedi. I mean, just an absolute ton of mint on cards, both graded and ungraded, loose graded. There is a UKG 85, looks like a blue lightsaber Luke, and lots of Lily Lettys again. And, so ton of awesome items for those of you that maybe just want to pick up a mock or two for a reasonable price. This is going to be a pretty nice looking auction that is now underway already. So get your watch list going. And again, these all end on Wednesday at, I think on February 12th, Wednesday evening on February 12th. But you can see here just a ton. There's a bunch of tri-logos there and some baggies, as I had mentioned earlier. Lots of ungraded baggies there. So lots of good stuff to bid on in this February auction, collector-friendly auction. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave me a like, as it does help out with the YouTube algorithms. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.